Welcome back to BLOCKTV. It's time for Trader's Take. Now, the crypto markets are showing high volatility this weekend, with Bitcoin meeting sharp resistance at $12,000 and Litecoin showing mixed trading. It's time to check in with Joe Saz, our technical analyst in New York. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how's it going, Iran?
Absolutely well. So much craziness going on. We're making it to 12 or going below 12. Some people are praying for a big dip again, for all of us that didn't buy the dip way back when. But can you tell us a little bit what's going on at this point? What's happening? Are we going to break past 12 at some point? Are we going to dip all the way back down? What do you see happening?
Well, I'm gonna let's just jump to the charts, because this is going to be a really important thing to take note of here. I want to point out the fact we were talking about how the bulls kept saving price action, right? And especially in the 9K territory. Let me see if I could drop this to 1 hour and get us back looking at like 9Ks. So we see all these wicks that really put us in the danger zone, and we completely were rejected. Like, the bulls were rejecting these lower prices. So it's actually this is where things were starting to look very bearish. And someone kept saving us, or groups of people, whatever. I don't necessarily always mean when I say someone that it's an orchestrated move, but we have a similar thing going on here, where we have a rejection of a price below this area, and so the low 11Ks are starting to feel like the low 9Ks. And again, right now I switched to a Bitcoin US dollar hourly chart, dropping it back to the 15-minute just so we can. But before we do, I mean, just looking at this stuff, people, this is why I took a vacation. This is why I had
Your
to walk away
non-vacation
from
vacation, Joe.
Yeah, I had to stop because this was way too emotional. Look at all the emotion that this causes in a trader trading with trying to feed their family. You know what I'm saying? There's just way too much volatility in this. So the thing is, we've been being saved now a number of times. I think this wick is probably most indicative of a rejection of this price region. I actually closed my shorts last night before bed, so probably around here. I don't know what time is this? Probably around like here or so. So I woke up to some nice green candle. I didn't go from short to long. And when I say vacation, I guess that means only half a vacation. But so on the 15-minute, it looks like we have a nice reversal hammer. Just so the viewers can see, we also had a beautiful looking reversal candle right here. A hammer is when you have approximately 1/3 or less body and 2/3 wick of the candle. And this is a very bullish looking hammer. So
now you went at some point, sorry that I'm interrupting you, but at some point you were saying that you think that a lot of things going on in the market at the time, this was a couple of weeks ago, was due to whale manipulation. At some point you kind of shifted over and you were like, this looks like natural movement to me. What holds true today?
Yeah, so actually, that's the thing. A lot of the downside moves look a lot more whaley than the upside moves. So, in the back of my head, I'm like, in my doomsday prepping a little bit here by saying if there are coordinated dumps and the community is rallying and pulling the last little bit of money they have out of altcoins, throwing it into Bitcoin, trying to ride the money train, and they keep getting dumped on, what's going to happen? Because, me and Tone were having like a deep discussion on this topic. Where is the money coming from? We hit Google Trends, and you look at a worldwide search of Google Trends, it is nothing, absolutely nothing relative to 2017 numbers. You look at altcoin and Bitcoin dominance, well, you do see a outflow of money from altcoins into Bitcoin. So that definitely can confirm some sort of isolated money moving from within the community to within the community. So that's one bit of where Bitcoin's increase in value is coming from. That's a fair speculative move, right? Now the rest of it is China worried about all this stuff and funneling their money into U.S. dollar tether to buy Bitcoin, or are hedge funds buying up Bitcoin. It's really funny. I just saw the headline Bloomberg article saying all these hedge fund managers are going all in on gold. So it's like the one article that, everyone was speculating that this is all going into Bitcoin, all these hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars from hedge funds going into Bitcoin. Well, I mean, that's probably not the case. Again, why would anyone with serious money like that, consider an asset with this kind of volatility and the New York Attorney General chasing after a group of people for manipulating the market and biting hard? I mean, I'm talking they're throwing punches that are sticking. They have emails where they have Giancarlo, also known as Merlin, saying that if they don't act quickly in October of 2018, that Bitcoin could tank below 1K. I mean, there is some serious evidence here. So why would anyone with half a mind, half a head on their shoulders, be throwing billions of dollars into this asset? I just don't see it, unless
Right,
there
it's
was a greater
definitely.
evil.
I mean, it's definitely an emotional market, especially, right? There, people say that markets in general work in an emotional kind of way, but I think especially now we had the news out of China with the devaluation, and then Peter Schiff was kind of saying like, no, people aren't going into Bitcoin. You guys are just speculating and causing more FUD, causing more FOMO, kind of like reflecting what you're saying now. And then today we have reports coming out with Mark Cuban kind of bashing both gold and Bitcoin as a store of value. So there's a lot of emotional. The emotional aspect is really top notch at this point when it comes to these things. And I think especially, so if we can kind of shift over to Litecoin, what happened there was interesting, right? Because leading up to the halving, we were like, nothing is going to, something is going to happen eventually. We don't exactly know when. Something happened for a moment there, but now we're kind of in pre-halving numbers. We're at something like $87. Can you shed some insight there?
Yeah, let's take a look. And I mean, well, let's shed some insight. We all know Litecoin is copy paste of Bitcoin. So there really is no intrinsic value.
Joe, you revealed your secrets today off camera, where you told me that you started off as a shitcoiner, which is the first I'm hearing about this with Litecoin. So choose your words wisely.
Yeah, I'm man enough to admit that I was wrong back in the day. I came into this space to make money. I hated what I was doing in my previous life, and I got lucky and caught a wave of money going into the market. I just out of nowhere, September 2017, I got into the space, and obviously what happened there on out. So I mean, I attribute a lot of the reason why I'm here to luck. But yeah, I used to dabble in shitcoins. To me, everything was a trade, and that's all that mattered. But coming to learn about the space and all these various aspects of it, I became a Bitcoin maximalist once I truly understood why cryptocurrency is a thing, what the point of this all is, and so Litecoin, again, the reason why I call it garbage, even though it was my part of my rise to getting out of the life that I hated, it's still there. It's facts that 94%. It's 94 or 97%. There's two numbers here. 94, I believe, is the number of Bitcoin source code that Litecoin copies and adds it as Litecoin improvement proposals, and the 97% is the percentage of Bitcoin core contributors. So basically, Litecoin is Bitcoin, and they just shorten the block time. And so I remember using Litecoin actually back in like 2017 when I was trying to move money between different exchanges to catch altcoins that were only on one exchange and not on another. So you'd have to move something to get your money onto different exchanges. And it was funny because I remember when Bitcoin was a $30 transaction fee, and back then I had no idea why. All I knew was I'm not paying $30 to send my money from one exchange to another. So I'd sell some Bitcoin directly to Litecoin and get Litecoin over there quickly. I mean, I was relentless. And that's actually goes into a good subject. Do I, as a toxic Bitcoin maximalist, how did that all happen? Well, I mean, I can see if Bitcoin wasn't able to scale, then we would definitely have a multi-coin ecosystem. But since Bitcoin can scale, now I no longer believe in that. So that's why I'm such a toxic Bitcoin maximalist, because there really only needs to be one if one can do it all.
Learning so much about Joe Saz today. Absolutely a lot more than I thought. And he's on vacation, folks. It's insane. But now kind of taking it back to the charts and seeing what happened with Litecoin post that halving that made it drop so far.
I mean, I would say it's probably just overblown hype and people that tried to get in for what was probably what people were hoping to be like a 3x move or something, 300% move to the upside. We saw this gigantic wick, right? And I was just telling you about that big Bitcoin reversal candle, probably leading us into a pump. Well, we're probably looking at something similar here. I mean, hindsight is 2020. What I'm looking at right now is an inverted hammer. I sold. The second that we were inverted hammer, I'm not interested in playing around. So we broke down. And that's very typical of hammers. Inverted hammer, breakdown. Obviously, here was a hammer that was kind of ignored, but this would be a bearish hammer, a hammer that was acted on. So you see that hammers are something that I really like to use in my arsenal. I don't put all my weight behind them, but here's a clear-cut case of a halvening that was missed, turned inverted hammer, and a breakdown. This is probably all people that thought that they were going to get their money's worth out of a pump, a halvening pump. Now, there could be a little bit of action. Right now, we're reaching a 9 buy according to the sequential system. Last time we had that, we had a nice 10% move to the upside. Nearly had one over here. Let's just consider this a 9, and it was another 12% move to the upside. So we might be due for a bounce, and we were supported by the 200 moving average. So I absolutely see a bounce in Litecoin's future. I think that's on the table. I'm not personally going to play it. But we are meeting a death cross of the short and intermediate term moving averages in the next few days. It looks like if this kind of activity continues, or even if we go sideways, this 50 MA is coming down pretty fast. It's coming down hard and fast. And while this is the 200 MA is still trending up, the last thing we want to do is, and what we've been talking about, is go from one bull market crash over 2 years or so, right, and then have our breakdown, and then jump into another parabolic uptrend. That's the thing that I don't understand about everyone's excitement right now. We know what happens when Bitcoin goes parabolic, and I'm not just talking, from small numbers to slightly big smaller numbers. I'm talking we 3x, 4x, and that's humongous. So we've broken that parabolic uptrend, and it's definitely time to consider that this run up isn't sustainable. We just, again, we know what happens when Bitcoin goes hard parabolic to the upside, and it's very possible that this is the beginning of everything coming back down. Now keep in mind, Bitcoin dominance is growing, which means money is flowing out of things like Litecoin. And again, this might be a tradable bounce, but money is leaving Litecoin. And if we pay closer attention here, Litecoin to Bitcoin, BTC, we're losing a lot of traction against Bitcoin. I mean, we've gone sideways a little bit, broken down. We have a small move to the upside, so we're actually on a 9 buy on the daily Litecoin relative to Bitcoin. And this pullback is looking very weak already. This is a terrible looking pullback. Considering if I was a Litecoin bull, this is a terrible looking pullback. This is the kind of pullback, a 1 to 4 candle pullback, when it's very light like this, that you typically see out of a continuation of the trend. If you see something like a violent move to the upside and then continuation past that fourth candle, then you're probably going into a 9 count and possibly a trend reversal, short-term, mid-term. But you can see here we've had some weak activity on these 9 buys, a 9 buy that was ignored, a 9 buy that was acted on slightly. So we had a violent move to the upside, and all this did was cause us to go sideways against Bitcoin. So it's starting to look a little dangerous out there for a lot of these altcoins. I don't have a chart to straight up show that Bitcoin is gaining dominance against everything, but I think that's what it is. Litecoin was probably, if I was a trader that was just all in, like just willing to touch any piece of garbage, like I've grown out of. But if I was really considering that trade, or looking at this like a trade, what I'd be seeing is there's just no interest, and I'm not going to play with something that has no interest. People are interested in Bitcoin, and it's quite obvious right now.
Yeah, so Litecoin is in a bit in rocky waters. It's definitely something we have to kind of update ourselves on to see where that holds, because this whole halving didn't exactly go as expected or as we've seen halvings go in the past. And it's kind of new territory that we have to kind of observe and see where this takes us. But now shifting gears a bit to Ethereum, that was kind of doing the same in general. It wasn't doing very well for a couple of weeks now. Has that changed in any way, shape, or form?
Well, let's take a look. Keep in mind, when you and I do our videos, and with BLOCKTV, this is pretty much the only time I look at other charts. I really don't pay too much attention to alts anymore. But let's see what we're looking at here. This became a 9 buy, and we completely just broke right through it. No, this was a 9 sell. My apologies. That's a red. Everything's red there. So we had a 9 sell. Let's see how we started this run. All right, a couple reversal hammers, spinning top, breakout. we killed the moving average short term and came right back down the next day. So when you see big moves like this, it just means that the 9 sell can happen, as it often does below the trend, like before it tops out. Anyways, point is 9 sell. We're at the 4 candle pullback range. We're starting to turn green, but I'm a little curious. I would expect we do have a little bit of support. Let's just take a look at this. Actually, this support would be broken. I like to use the bodies. Now, people draw these lines all the time, right? And I've seen people go from like wick to body, and and by body I mean right here. This just makes no sense to me. So from body to body, we've broken the trend line here. We had a nice little support. This was just broken. So now it just looks like we might have a little bit of support in this area, but it's very weak looking. We didn't spend much time here, and this supported the price a number of times, but it doesn't look like we're really optimistic. I mean, we've created a pretty serious breakthrough of any support in the order book, and we're probably going to make our way down to this 200 moving average in the next couple weeks if they can manage to go sideways. But again, let's take a look also at Ethereum relative to Bitcoin and see what that's looking like. Let's see. This is reported by Binance. Maybe we can get this. Let me just try this over again. Let's see if we can get this to an exchange that's been around a bit longer.
So while you kind of pull those up, let me just ask. Ethereum's kind of been on the same ground for the last couple of months, and even though you're kind of pessimistic on where it's going, it's kind of, you could say, stable in some way, because we've been in this kind of realm for a couple of months now. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Relative to Bitcoin, I would disagree. I mean, if people are worried, I think, if an Ethereum bull only cares about Ethereum to US dollar, right? So if I would say relative to Bitcoin, things are looking pretty bad. We're not looking very stable right now relative to Bitcoin. We're looking unstable. And that's part of the problem here is what does that mean for the wider space? Does that mean people are wrong and some people are right? We're not 100% sure yet, because we're still only 10 years into this technology. I believe some people have an answer to it and they're ahead of the curve. But right now, Ethereum looks like it's in danger. We have been going sideways relative to Bitcoin's price until these past number of weeks, where we were creating a descending triangle, and this is a kind of a bigger one that I drew up here, but a smaller one down here until we broke down. Now we're reaching some serious areas, and so I pulled this up on Bittrex, where we have history as far back as August 2015. So it looks like we're trading back at numbers in March of 2017. This is pretty dangerous. We're not at all-time lows, but we're definitely struggling with an area. There is a lot of support here, which I would say is making me slightly bullish. But again, the most important thing here is to keep in mind how strong financially are the bulls in each particular crypto asset, and then how many traders are trading those assets. If everything is just trade volume, which it very well could be, and the rest is hodlers, because I have believed for some time now that the kind of money that would be in the space, circulating the space, the people working and using a percentage of their paycheck to buy crypto, those numbers are dwindling. So point is that if all this money is funneling out of alts, and it's traders that are causing the most of that, the majority of that movement, then and Bitcoin continues to grow, it's going to attract more people in the space to move into Bitcoin, and this is going to be worse for altcoins in time. And even worse for altcoins will be if Bitcoin crashes, because I strongly do not believe that if Bitcoin does crash, people are going to want to park their money in alts that are looking terrible on a chart. And again, that's assuming traders are the ones dominating the space, because I tend to think that way, and things like the Litecoin halving being completely overlooked even mean to me now that there are even less traders trading in the space than there might have been in early 2019, mid 2018. It just means that the space is getting more and more isolated, and it's almost like, are the last people standing going to be traders arguing on crypto Twitter, or is it going to be new money coming in at some point? And right now, I do not believe that it is new money coming in. I do believe that this is isolated and still an isolated ecosystem.
Or, and I give you this, we all become smarter. We invest in blockchain and cryptocurrency education. People know what they're doing, or will know what they're doing if we do that. And then the space could be a lot healthier in that respect. And we all can know what we're talking about. And it could be one nice, fun show. Thank you very much, Joe Saz, BLOCKTV's technical analyst all the way from New York, for breaking those down for us. For everybody at home, keep watching at blocktv.com for more cryptocurrency and blockchain-related news.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.